Near the children's shelter, the teacher shouted at the little girl because she was crying loudly. Her assistant asked the senior teacher to calm down. After all, this poor little child has no parents. But suddenly, a very young girl ran up to them and hugged the child, who was all in tears. The senior teacher asked the girl who she was. She answered that she was Sandy's mother, but the woman began to argue with her. She said that this is a shelter, and the children who live here do not have parents. And the girl herself was a pet of this shelter, so she is definitely not Sandy's guardian. The girl started to quarrel, and the senior teacher raised her hand on her. She had already covered her face with her hand when a tall man stopped the nanny's hand. This attractive stranger called himself Sandy's dad and scolded the shelter staff for misbehaving with the children. The girl thanked him for saving her, but the man, not paying attention to her, leaned towards Sandy and said hello. The girl stood in front of the child and asked the young man who he really was. The man in the suit introduced himself as Christopher Wayne, Sandy's father. The girl began to prove that this is her daughter, so she will not give her to anyone. It was March and it was snowing heavily. Lily approached the shelter and saw an abandoned baby in a basket on the doorstep. She carefully picked up this small bundle of diapers. Lily took the baby to the shelter and informed the management about the litter. The child was a newborn, and the shelter had never seen such small children before. Therefore, Lily was sent to the pharmacy for dry formula for the baby. From that day on, the girl took care of the little one every day. She didn't want to get attached, but that's how it turned out. Probably it happened when the little one started calling her mom. Lily said that she was more of a sister than a mother, but Sandy stubbornly called her her mother. That's how Sandy became a special person in Lily's life. But when they wanted to adopt the girl, Sandy decided not to stand in the way of the child's family happiness. But the girl was returned to the shelter because she cried loudly all the time for her mother. Lily saw the bruises that the adoptive parents had left on the child. Then she decided that she would never allow herself to be taken away again. The girl tightly hugged the bruised little Sandy, who was not even a year old, and said that from this moment on, she was her family. 2 years ago, Lily made the decision to protect Sandy no matter what. So now she had to stand in the way of the new guardian. Lily eavesdropped on the conversation of the shelter management with Christopher Venn outside the director's office. It turned out that he is Sandy's uncle. His brother, the girl's father, died 3 years ago. So he, having learned about the child, decided to become her guardian. The headmistress said that she would not disturb him if he had already decided everything, but she added that she should warn that the child was already being returned to the shelter. After these words, Christopher's assistant handed the director his boss's business card. It said that Christopher Wen is a representative of the well-known cosmetic company V Cosmetics. And before that, he was also Sandy's blood relative. The would-be guardian said that should be enough for them to be confident of Sandy Wen's safety. The director replied that she would prepare all the documents today. Lily remembered all the time spent with the girl, and decided that she could not allow her to be taken away. She broke into the director's office. The girl shouted that she was Sandy's mother and would not allow her to be taken away. A little later, when Christopher was holding the baby in his arms and wanted to put her in the car, Lily wouldn't let him do it. Sandy cried, broke away from her husband, and begged her mother. Christopher himself did not know what to do. He told Lily that she was not old enough to be the guardian of a child. Lily shouted that she was already 20 years old. She was going to go to university and find a job to provide for the child. But the man understood that she still wouldn't have enough money to raise a small child. Lily grabbed his sleeve and begged him not to take Sandy. Christopher remembered the women who had raised them with his brother. They left them one by one without hesitation, and the father then found another. It seemed to the man that this girl would also grow up a little and abandon the child in search of herself. To his surprise, the girl knelt before him and cried. Christopher then said that if she was really ready for it, she could be Sandy's mother by marrying him. Lily hesitated, noticing that the girl could not answer. Christopher said that she should not get so attached to the little one if she is not ready to be with her forever. The man took the child and went to the car. Sandy started screaming and begging for her mom, and he stopped. After thinking a little, the young man turned to the girl who was still kneeling. Christopher gave Lily his business card and told her that she could come to his office within the next 3 days and give her answer about the marriage. In the evening, Lily sat on her bed and looked at pictures of Sandy on her phone. In the photo, the girl was with her favorite toy. The girl hugged a stuffed rabbit, without which Sandy could not fall asleep. Then she remembered the business card and took it out of her pocket. Lily began to think about marriage. Meanwhile, Christopher brought the little girl home and asked his assistant to bathe the little one in a warm bath. As the man headed up the stairs to the second floor to his room, his aide asked him if he was all right after learning of his brother's death. Now Christopher, who was only involved in sports all his life, had to take care of his parents' cosmetics company. He told the assistant that he would not change his decision. The aide asked what he planned to do with that girl. Christopher replied that he would marry her if she would come to his office. The man added that he would be able to divorce her if he did not like something. After all, this is what his father always did. The aide said his father loved his children. Christopher agreed with him, but added that he had too many mothers. Therefore, the man changed his mind and said that he will not marry anyone. Suddenly, they heard a terrible loud cry of a child from the bathroom. The assistant said that she had just put the child in the water, and she started crying a lot. Christopher dismissed the assistant, adding that he would buy the girl himself. He told Sandy that he needed to wash up and have dinner, and Mother will come to them in 2 days. The girl was happy and agreed to bathe. Christopher remembered how mothers liked him as a child, but even now he did not suffer from a lack of female attention. Therefore, Sandy seemed very sweet to him, although he understood that she was a rather difficult child. Here, after a few minutes, she was crying again in the apartment. Sitting in the office, Christopher Wen could not concentrate on his work because he had a headache from yesterday due to the constant crying of the baby. The assistant reported that they had come to him. Lily entered the office of the director of V Cosmetics and informed him that she agreed to get married. Christopher really didn't think she would come. He reminded the girl what a responsibility it is to officially get married and raise a child. Lily said that she understands everything and will try. Christopher then said that from the moment they were married, love and feelings would be forbidden. And as Sandy's mom, she should be his real wife. Lily said she was ready for it. She added that she would do all the housework and take good care of her Sandy. The man asked if she agreed to share a bed with him as a real couple does, and the girl did not think about this before and did not know what to answer. She reminded the man that he had said that love would be forbidden, and Christopher replied that it can be done without love. The girl said she needed to go to the bathroom for a moment. Christopher Wen thought she was afraid of adulthood and ran away. Lily was standing in front of the mirror in the dressing room. She pondered over what the man had said. The girl thought that she would live in a room with Sandy, not with this man. She thought maybe he was just intimidating her. Suddenly, Lily heard a conversation between 2 girls working in Christopher Ven's office. One girl told another that their director was so handsome that all the women in the office were trying to like him, and the other said that you should try it too. At this time, the assistant informed Christopher that the company's U.S. branch wanted him to come there himself. The man added that it was not worth sending director Zach Wine there. Christopher asked his assistant John why he disliked him so much and was always wary of Zach. John replied that it wasn't, but Zach had someone on his back. The director replied that he knew very well who was behind Zach Wen. It was his mother and Christopher Wayne's aunt, Patricia Wayne. Chris added that he also knows the influence she has in the company, and that this is the perfect chance for Zach to take over as CEO after he leaves for the U.S. The aide asked why he was thinking so long then. Christopher replied that it was because of Sandy. Suddenly, Lily knocked on their office. The director asked what she wanted, because they had already discussed everything. The girl wanted to tell him that she agreed to all his conditions, when suddenly Chris got a call. Kara's assistant informed him that Sandy had been taken away by the ambulance. Lily demanded that her husband tell her what had happened to her little girl. When they arrived at the hospital, Lily held Sandy close to her. The doctor asked if she was a guardian, and the girl said yes, surprising Christopher. The doctor told them that the girl had an attack of respiratory arrest. This happens in children due to the fact that the child cries a lot without stopping. But now Sandy is fine and sleeping. Chris asked the doctor when he could pick her up. He replied that they would be able to take her home when she woke up. When the doctor left, Lily rushed to Sandy again. She cried and blamed herself for leaving her. Sandy heard a familiar voice and woke up. The girl hugged Lily, calling her mother. Lily apologized to the little one and said that she was not around, adding that now she will always be with her and protect her for the rest of her life. Chris believed her at that moment. At dinner, Sandy was very happy to eat whatever Lily offered her. Christopher thought, seeing such a good appetite in the little one for the first time. The next day at the V Cosmetics office, The woman asked the head of the campaign committee how things were going at their branch in the USA. Zach Wen replied that he seems to have found Chris's weak spot, the company's CEO and part-time mother of Zach, Patricia Wen. She reminded her son that he was the director of the committee thanks to her. Patricia asked her son what he did to make the company work as before. The woman was angry because sales were falling. Under the leadership of the company's first director and founder, Dean Ven, Chris's older brother, their cosmetics were very popular. The woman scolded her son for the fact that now some of the positions for which Zach was responsible are not in demand. Zach apologized, but the mother said that was not what she needed. She was waiting for him to solve this problem. The boy did not know what to do, and his mother said that he was just like his father. Zach clenched his fists in anger. Seeing Simone Richards, the model of the company, on the set, Patricia reminded her son that Dean appreciated her not only as a woman, but also as a good employee. Zach congratulated Christopher on his appointment as head of the U.S. division. Chris thanked his cousin for the greeting. Patricia told Chris that she was worried about how he would grow up. After all, before he only fought because he was a boxer, but now he has become a good director. Chris clenched his fists, but thanked his aunt for her concern. When they left a little, Assistant John told Christopher that even after he was approved for this position, he still couldn't calm down looking at his relatives. Chris replied that there was one more matter that needed to be resolved before leaving. John asked if he was talking about marrying that girl. The man reminded the assistant that there was nothing he could not do. But John asked Christopher if he thought she was strange. Chris thought for a while and replied that he was right. Because all the mothers who were there with their brother, it was not difficult to leave them and leave forever. And the way Lily cared about Sandy made him believe her. John assumed that this girl, having learned about the company, wanted to take over his property. The aide added that it might be difficult for Sandy in America at first, but she would get used to it. Chris replied that he had decided everything and asked to order 3 plane tickets. When the housekeeper met Christopher at home, he immediately asked her where Lily was. Kara replied that she helps her with the housework. The man asked to tell her to come to his office. Lily, learning about this, was afraid that he was calling her for the same thing they were talking about. But when she entered the office, Christopher asked her to sit across from him. He handed her 2 plane tickets and told her that he was being transferred to the United States. The man admitted that at first he wanted to go there with Sandy, but after seeing their relationship, he realized that it would be better that way. Chris asked Lily if she would leave this town for them. The girl thought, because she had just entered the university she had dreamed of entering for so long. But Sandy was more important to her than anything else. Christopher, not waiting for her answer, made her a marriage proposal. Lily immediately agreed and said that she would be a good mother and wife. But Chris added that after marriage, he will need to go to America himself for a while. He asked the girl to be the best mother for Sandy. The next day, the 3 of them went for a walk around the city. First, the bride and groom drew up the documents necessary for marriage. Christopher then offered to buy Sandy lots of nice things. The girl saw a very beautiful pink dress in the store. Chris bought it and she immediately went for a walk in a new dress. As they walked on, Sandy pointed to a mannequin in a pink dress and said that Mom should be wearing pink too. Seeing the price tag for the dress, Lily said she didn't need one. Christopher insisted that she at least try on the dress. When the girl asked Sandy what she looked like, the little girl said that her mother was a princess. Chris couldn't take his eyes off Lily. The girl saw a mannequin in a pink suit and said that Dad should be in pink too. The man couldn't believe that Sandy had called him Dad. He hugged the girl and said that he too would definitely buy a suit like their dress. They happily walked around the city in clothes of the same color, like a real family. A girl on the street noticed them and recognized Sandy. She wondered why she was here and not at the shelter. A few days later, Christopher said goodbye to Sandy. The girl cried in his arms and did not want her father to go. He promised to return soon with gifts. The man asked Lily to go through it with him. Chris opened the door to the room and showed the girl her dressing room. There were many new things according to the last word of fashion. He said that she should have enough of these things for a while. On the makeup table, there were many cosmetics produced by their company. Christopher also handed the girl a bank card and told her she could use it. But Lily said it was too much. The man said that she, as Sandy's mother, should not need anything. After these words, Lily agreed to take the card and promised to do her best for the little one. Christopher then took a box with an engagement ring from his pocket and said that it was the most important thing. He put the wedding ring on Lily's finger and hoped that she would like it. The girl replied that it was very beautiful. She said goodbye to her husband and said that she will wait for his return because now they are one family. 5 years have passed since then, and Sandy met Dad at the airport. The girl was happy that now he returned home and would not go to America again. Due to the fact that Sandy often flew with Dad to the United States, they became very close. When they were far from each other, they communicated every day by means of video communication. But Lily was always busy with something, so she did not see Christopher. Sandy told Dad she hadn't told Mom he was coming back. The girl said that it will be a huge surprise for her mother. Chris remembered Lily's smile and asked his daughter if she thought her mother would be happy to have him back. Meanwhile, Lily was reporting to her boss, Zach Wen, that she had scheduled his meetings for the week and booked a hotel table for tomorrow. Zach praised the secretary for highlighting important meetings that should not be missed. The chief once offered Lila to have dinner with him. The girl replied that she had already scheduled a meeting. Zach then asked Lily if her husband was still on a business trip. The secretary answered yes and went to work. Zach was initially upset that she didn't agree today either, but then he decided that it wasn't just her in peace anyway, because the girl is very attractive. Lily returned to her workplace. She had just sat down at the computer, exhaling that she barely managed to avoid dinner with the boss, when there was a knock on the door of the reception room. When the man entered the office, the girl jumped up in surprise. It was Christopher, whom she had not seen for 5 whole years. He looked at Lily and walked over to Zach to say hello. They sat down on the couches across from each other, and Zach asked his secretary to make them tea. The girl went out the door and could not believe that he had returned. She didn't know if Chris didn't recognize her or if he pretended because they were in the company office. Christopher was looking at the door, and his cousin Zach said he was looking as if he saw something beautiful there. The man replied that it was. Lily has changed a lot in these 5 years, turning from a girl into a real lady. Therefore, Chris did not immediately recognize her. He asked his cousin how old his secretary was. He answered that she was 25 years old and extremely beautiful. Christopher began to demand that Zach say her name. Zach said his secretary's name was Lily Blank, but asked Chris not to show any more interest in her because he liked her. Christopher smiled and asked Zach if the girl knew he liked her. He replied that she knows, and he hopes that soon they will become even closer. Chris smiled, but he was actually angry because he didn't understand how his wife was working for his cousin. Another secretary had already brought the tea to their office, and Zach was very upset. Lily had already gone home because her working day was over. When Lily entered the house, she was greeted by Sandy with the happy news that she had a surprise. Christopher asked the assistant to set the table. Lily looked at Chris and wondered if they could live as a family now after being apart for so long. Chris looked at her and compared her to the girl she was 5 years ago. A grown lady, not a girl, greeted her husband, and Sandy asked her mother why she said good afternoon to her father instead of hello, dear. The girl also added that parents should kiss. Lily asked Sandy what presents her father had brought her, and she ran to show them off. Actress Simone Richards dined with Zach Wine at the restaurant and signed autographs for anyone who recognized her at the restaurant. The girl asked why such a busy man like him called her to dinner. Zach admitted that there is one girl who keeps turning him down. Simone understood what he was saying about his secretary and asked what their age difference was. The man replied that it is not important when there is love between 2 people. Then the girl asked why he was so sure that she loved him. Zach replied that Lily would love him soon. She just had family problems. After all, she is raising her daughter herself. The girl was born when she was 17, so now she is 9 years old. Also, Lily says that she has a husband, but it seems to me that this is not so, added Zach. After listening to her friend, Simona asked what he would achieve. The man replied that he wanted to be. Simone became interested in looking at this girl, who liked him so much. But the actress was offended that a friend invited her to dinner instead of another, so she was going to leave. Zach told her to take her time because he had some good news for her. Christopher is back, he added, and noticed how happy Simona was. The man asked if she still had feelings for him. The girl replied that it was none of his business. Then Zach said that tomorrow he has a dinner planned with Christopher, to which he will also invite his secretary Lily. Simone said she would think about his invitation. After dinner, Chris asked Lily to come into his office. The girl stood in front of the door and was worried, then, having calmed down a little, entered it. Lily sat down on the couch across from Christopher and asked what he wanted to talk to her about. The man said that she had changed a lot during that time. The girl replied that 5 years had already passed, and he remained the same as he was. Lily called Chris an amazing man and he liked it. But remembering Zach, Christopher decided to ask the girl why she works for him. Lily replied that at that time the office needed a secretary. The husband did not understand why she should work, because he gave enough money to provide for them and the child. Chris asked Lily if she knew that she and Zach were related. The girl replied that she knew because she was informed about it when she got a job. Then Christopher remembered that he had asked her to be a good mother. And now when she works, the girl spends time with someone other than her mother. The husband also said that she should quit this job. Lily yelled that she couldn't do that because she had a contract. And even when it ends, she will still work, albeit at a different job. Christopher asked why she would do that. The girl replied that she wanted to be a good mother for Sandy, but she assured that her work never prevented her from being a mother. Lily added that she also wants to be responsible for the child, which is why she works, and Sandy always comes first for her. The man believed her words. The girl was about to leave when Chris stopped her and asked where her wedding ring was. She replied that she had it on her dressing table. Christopher showed his hand with the wedding ring. He said he never took it off, so there was even a tan mark on his finger. Christopher added that during these 5 years he never forgot that he was married. The man asked Lily to wear his wedding ring, even if she doesn't have feelings for him because Sandy might notice. In fact, the girl did not wear it because she was afraid of losing it. The next morning, while sitting in Christopher's car, Lily asked her husband not to tell anyone in the office that they were together. Chris asked why she wanted to. The girl explained that she got this job herself and works hard, so she does not want to be prejudiced or gossiped about. Christopher then replied that he would do as she asked, but he added that he also has a request for her. Chris remembered Zach's words that he liked her. The man decided that she would no longer be with him, but told Lily that he didn't mind her working, but not in Zach Venn's department. Therefore, soon there will be a transfer of personnel in the office. Lily thought that it didn't matter where she would work. The main thing was to keep her job, so she agreed. Zach, seeing the document about the transfer of his secretary, became angry. He realized that Chris had ignored his warning. Lily knocked on his door and, entering the office, told everything she had done today on his behalf. Zach asked the girl if she knew she was being transferred to a different department. Lily replied that she had heard about it. The boss then suggested that she would enjoy being the principal's secretary. Seeing the girl's surprise, Zach asked her why she knew about the move but didn't know where exactly. Lily said she didn't have time to read the ad carefully. The girl realized that this was the personnel transfer that Christopher had told her about. She wasn't worried about work, but she didn't want to work with her husband. Lily thought that maybe Christopher did this on purpose to make her feel uncomfortable and get out of this job sooner. Her boss, Zach Venn, invited Lily to a farewell dinner. The girl agreed, deciding that she would not see him again. Noticing the wedding ring on the secretary's hand, Zach asked what she had. Lily replied that it was a wedding ring, and said that her husband had returned from a business trip. Christopher received a text from Zach with the dinner location and time. Entering the restaurant, Chris saw him at a table with a girl. Zach thanked Lily for a job well done and took her hand for a kiss. Christopher stood in front of them and asked if he was late. Seeing Lily's surprised face, Zach explained to her that he had scheduled a meeting with the principal for the same time. Chris asked Zach why they were having dinner together. He said that he decided to arrange a last dinner for his secretary. Lily was indignant that this was not the case, because the other secretary was also supposed to come. Zach apologized to the girl that they did not know the director Christopher. The girl wanted to leave, but Chris asked them to stay and have dinner with them. Chris sat down next to Lily and said that this dinner was both a separation and a new meeting at the same time. The girl felt very awkward between these two men. When the actress Simone Richards came to their table, Lily thought about how beautiful she was when she saw her. The girl's appearance seemed perfect to her. Simone leaned over Christopher and asked why he hadn't told her he was back. Chris greeted her coldly and added, "Long time no see." Then the girl greeted Zach and he asked what she was doing here. Simona replied that she had an appointment at this restaurant, and she approached after seeing them. Lily was very surprised when the famous actress greeted her, calling her by name. The girl asked if Simona knew her. Simone said she had heard a lot about Zach's secretary. She said that he called her beautiful and a constant worker, so she was interested in getting to know her. Lily thanked the girl for her kind words, and Simone asked her for one favor. She said she was very uncomfortable, but Lily had to move. The actress wanted to sit next to Christopher, and Lily was supposed to sit next to Zach Venn, her former boss. The girl did not know what to do. Although Lily did not expect to see her husband here, she did not want to sit down with White Zach either. Christopher replied irritably for Simone to sit in the empty seat. Lily was so embarrassed by the whole situation that she retreated to the dressing room. After washing her face, the girl left the toilet, and Zach was waiting for her there. He told her that they had better go and leave Christopher and Simone alone. Lily didn't understand what was happening, but she didn't want to go, especially without Christopher. Zach offered the girl a ride home. At that moment, Chris came up to them and said that he would go with Lily because she was now his personal secretary. The girl said that everything is fine and she will get home herself, but her new boss replied that they still had something to discuss about work. Lily then agreed, and Chris asked Zach to take care of Simone. Zach clenched his fists, realizing that his cousin really did have feelings for this girl he liked so much. Simone approached Zach and asked why Christopher left so quickly. The man replied that it was getting more interesting because everything did not go as they had planned. Already sitting in the car, Zach called and asked his man to investigate Lily Blank. He wanted to know everything: where she lives, who is her husband, child, and other details. On the way home, Chris asked Lily if she was surprised to see him at the restaurant. The girl replied that she did not expect to see him there. Lily began to explain to her husband that it was a farewell dinner, at which another secretary was supposed to be present, but she did not come at the last minute. Christopher smiled and said he understood and was amused by her panic. By the time they got there, the girl had fallen asleep, so Chris had to carry her to bed. Waking up in Christopher's room, Lily was scared that something had happened between them. She looked at the sleeping man and thought he was very handsome. Lily wanted to leave quietly, but the man woke up and said that they had to do what they didn't have time to do yesterday. The girl asked what exactly, and Chris did not specifically answer. Then the man said that it was already time for them to go to work, so they would have to postpone everything until later. Christopher liked it when Lily looked confused. The girl thanked her husband for giving her a ride to work and was about to leave. Chris asked Lily where her wedding ring was, and she took it out of her pocket. Christopher put the wedding ring on her finger and asked her to never take it off no matter what. Lily agreed and decided that she would be a real wife. Simone Richards was drinking wine at home and thinking about last night. When she and Chris were alone, she admitted that she missed him, and the man replied that he was tired for today and went home. The girl did not understand what was happening. He was still cold with her before, but something has changed. The actress understood that it was about this girl, Lily. She decided that something had to be done about it. She and Zach already had one plan, but it didn't work. Meanwhile, Lily took the elevator to her new floor and greeted John, Christopher's assistant. He asked where her husband was. The girl replied that he was still downstairs. John asked her to wait for him with him so they could go into the office together. The aide said he was worried if she would make it. He added that Lily had taken on too many responsibilities, but judging by her recommendations, she would manage. The girl promised to work even harder. Christopher sat in his office and smiled as he remembered the look on the girl's face when he said they had been doing something interesting that night. He decided not to tell her that nothing happened because he liked teasing her. Lily knocked on his office and brought him his schedule for the week. The girl told the director that she would make him an Americano, and if he had other preferences, then he should tell her about it. And from tomorrow, she could make coffee with syrup. The director indignantly asked the secretary if she always works like this. Lily asked the boss what she did wrong. Christopher said that she was praised so much and she behaved like this. Firstly, he will make himself coffee. Secondly, she chatters nonstop. And thirdly, everything must be said clearly and to the point. The director added that he should be giving instructions to her, not her to him. And also she must listen to his instructions to the end. Lily said she understood everything. But when she left her new boss's office, she cried. She remembered how kind he used to be, but now he had turned to ice. The girl thought that maybe Christopher was doing this on purpose to get her free. Having calmed down a little, Lily decided to look for another job. She opened a job site to submit her resume to other companies. At that moment, Patricia Wen entered the waiting room and asked if the director Christopher Wen was with him. Secretary Mia asked her boss, Zach Wen, why he was so upset, if it was because of Lily's absence. Zach replied that it was. Mia then asked how their farewell dinner went. Checking the documents the secretary brought him, Zach replied that he had met a friend, so they had to go their separate ways. The man then thanked the girl for fulfilling his request yesterday. Mia replied that it was not difficult for her and smiled. Leaving the office, Mia sat down at the computer and angrily remembered that Zach had asked her not to come to dinner in exchange for good recommendations. The girl was annoyed and did not know what to do, because there was little time left before signing the contract. Her husband called her endlessly, and she dropped the call again. Aunt Patricia asked her nephew Christopher why he didn't stop by to say hello as soon as he got back from the States. Christopher replied that he had been very busy since his return. After all, there were a lot of things that had to be done. Lily made coffee and listened to their conversation. Patricia Wen said she had heard about his success in the U.S. She remembered again that she was worried about him, because before all he did was shake his fists. Lily, hearing about this, was surprised. She wondered what waving his fists meant. She served the coffee and wanted to go to her seat, but Patricia stopped her. The woman recognized the girl as her son's secretary and asked why she was working here now. Christopher replied that Lily was there temporarily, and now he needed her. Over coffee, Patricia told Christopher that no matter how successful he was in the States, he would now have to do a good job at head office to prove his worth to the firm. The director reassured his aunt that he would definitely manage and meet her expectations. After leaving the office, the woman looked at John in such a way that Lily began to wonder what had happened between them. Simone was still looking out at the street from her skyscraper window and drinking wine when her sister came to visit her. She reminded her that next week was the anniversary of their parents' deaths. The girl replied to her sister that she doesn't care about filming, so Sarah can do whatever she wants with it. Sarah then asked if Simone remembered her daughter's birthday. Simona knew that Sandy's birthday was coming soon, but she got angry with her sister and told her that she had not given birth to any child. Christopher asked his assistant where Lily was. John replied that she had left to say hello to her former colleague. Hearing this, Chris became nervous for some reason. He glanced at Sandy's photo on her desktop and happened to notice that she had a job search site open on her computer. Chris was upset when he realized that Lily wanted to quit. Zach Wen pondered what really happened between Chris and Lily, if they had feelings for each other. His mother, Patricia Wen, burst into his office without warning. She asked to make her tea and asked her son if he had already met with Christopher on business. Zach replied that they had already discussed his project, The City. Then Patricia became angry with her son and shouted, asking what he had been doing for the past 5 years. He replied that he was working on a line of shades. The woman said that everything is at the same level and does not move forward. The mother asked Zach if he was ashamed to lose to someone who had only waved his fists before. She added that the trust of the board of directors in Christopher grows every day, and her son sits in this position in vain. Therefore, if he does nothing, he will have to be fired. When his mother left, Zach thought that she was right and that it was time for him to act. He dialed the number of the head of the pallet project on the phone and asked him to speed it up. A man in a black cap and black mask was crying after his daughter Lily on the playground. He was about to approach the girl when suddenly Christopher called her. Sandy was so happy to see her dad that she quickly ran to him and collapsed. Chris calmed his daughter down and carried her to the car. The masked man was surprised that Christopher was the father. At home, Dad treated the wounds on Sandy's knees with salve. When Lily returned from work, the girl told her mother what had happened. The mother patted her daughter and asked if she was so happy that her father took her today. Sandy said yes. Then the girl asked why they slept in different rooms. Lily and Christopher didn't know what to say. Sandy said she had heard from friends about adults sleeping in different rooms and then separating. Lily said she couldn't worry because they weren't going to break up. It's just that she was small, so Mom slept with her in the room. Sandy then firmly told her parents that she was an adult, so now they could sleep in the same room. After completing school assignments, the girl told her mother that it was time to go to her father. When Lily entered the room she shared with her husband, she immediately lay down on the empty bed and quickly fell asleep. She dreamed that Chris was lying next to her and admiring her. The next morning, when Christopher arrived at the office, Lily was already at her workplace. The boss asked John to reserve a table in the restaurant for the evening. He added that it would be nice to congratulate Lily on her transfer to their department over dinner. The girl gladly agreed to dinner. Chris and Lily were sitting at a table in the same restaurant they had recently been to. The man explained that they were here again because last time the dinner did not go well. Chris's phone rang and he heard that John wasn't coming. The assistant said that he and Lily had not seen each other for 5 years, so he wanted to leave them alone. When the girl asked what happened, Christopher replied that John would not be able to come, so the corporate meeting could be postponed to another day. Lily said she didn't mind continuing the dinner with him alone. Then Christopher asked how she had lived the last 5 years without him. The girl answered that at first it was difficult to combine motherhood and studying at the university. But those 4 years flew by quickly. Lily admitted that it was very difficult when Sandy was sick, because it was also necessary to prepare for the pairs at the university. But she managed only thanks to her daughter. When Sandy smiled, she felt happy, and it gave her even more strength. Christopher wondered how difficult it had been for her. After talking about herself, Lily asked Chris what he did in the U.S. The man replied that he traveled a lot on business, and the girl said that she dreams of going somewhere at least once. Christopher asked why she hadn't done this before, since she had his bank card. Lily admitted that she didn't want to travel without Sandy, or leave her alone. After learning that the girl has never even flown on a plane, Chris said that from this moment on, she has the right to do whatever she wants because she is his wife. Zach Wen gets a call from a masked man telling him that he has found out who Lily Blank's husband is. This is Christopher Wen, and they also have a daughter, Sandy, who is 9 years old. Zach asked if that was true and ordered the mercenary to follow. He couldn't believe that Lily and Chris knew each other so closely and were raising a daughter together. As Christopher, Lily, and John entered and exited the elevator, they saw a crowd of people in the hallway watching the fight. Secretary Mia was beaten by her husband. He shouted that she was not answering his phone calls and hit her in the face. Christopher came over, stopped him by grabbing his arm, and called the police. Lily lost consciousness from what she saw. Chris, not understanding what was happening, took her in his arms and told the assistant that he would take her to the hospital himself. Model Simona Richards came to the V Cosmetics office to shoot a cosmetics ad. She was immediately surrounded by fans and discussed how beautiful she is. The actress was very surprised to see Christopher running to the exit with Lily's secretary in his arms. She did not understand what connected these two together. The girl called Chris, but he did not stop. Simone noticed that Lily had lost her purse and picked it up from the floor. She was very angry. At the hospital, Chris, as Lily's relative, was told that no medical abnormalities were found, so the girl fainted, most likely due to a sudden shock. The doctor explained that this could be due to the fact that a person has experienced stress or is in constant tension. But everything is fine with her now, and she will be able to be discharged soon. Christopher pondered what had shocked her so much about the situation where the man had beaten the secretary. He understood that Lily herself had experienced something terrible. When Chris took Lily home, Sandy was already asleep, and he had prepared a delicious dinner for his wife. The man asked what happened to her today and why she lost consciousness. Lily thought. She thought that everything had been forgotten for a long time, but for some reason what she saw today shocked her so much. Chris said she might not tell if it was difficult. But the girl said that she wanted to tell him. Lily started with the fact that she was adopted from a shelter as a child, and her stepfather often beat her when he got drunk. Fortunately, the director of the shelter quickly found out about this and took her back. But today, seeing Secretary Mia on the floor, she remembered herself in the same situation. Lily said she was fine now and apologized for making Christopher worry. The husband asked his wife not to apologize for something that was not her fault. Chris added that you don't have to pretend that everything is fine when it's not. He asked to always tell the truth and promised to do so as well. The girl promised that she would try. Christopher then asked Lily why she was looking for a new job, and she asked if that wasn't what he wanted. The man did not understand her, and Lily cried. She said that he himself wanted her to quit because he took her in and is now yelling at her. Chris was surprised at this assumption, because he had specifically made her his personal secretary so that she would continue to work, but now by his side. The man apologized to Lily for taking her to his office without asking her permission. The girl replied that she was also wrong and smiled. Simone remembered how Chris carried his secretary in his arms. It was the first time she had seen him care for someone so much. The girl took out a black card from her wallet. It was Christopher's unlimited black card, and Simone didn't understand what she was doing in his secretary Lily's purse. She decided that she needed to learn more about them. The next day, Simone Richards visited the director's office where Lily Blank worked. The girl greeted the secretary and asked if she had a director. The actress then gave Lily her wallet, adding that she had found it in the hall. Simone admitted that when she looked in her wallet, she saw Christopher's card there. Lily decided to tell the girl that the principal had given her his card for a while she ran his errands. The actress replied that Chris does not trust people so easily. so it was strange that he gave his card to someone. Simone asked the receptionist how long she had been working here, and Lily said 2 years. Simone thought about the fact that Christopher went to America 5 years ago, and this girl got a job 2 years ago. So they just met. Sitting on the sofa in his office, Christopher asked Simone why she had decided to visit his office. The girl replied that she was passing by and decided to take a look. Lily was making tea for them and listening to their conversation when the girl started reminiscing about how much time she and Chris had together with him and his brother Dean. Simone asked Christopher if he often thought of his brother while working in his office. She suddenly cried because he left for the States without saying goodbye to her. Christopher abruptly changed the subject and asked the girl if she knew who his brother had a serious relationship with. Simone turned a little pale with surprise. Lily realized that Chris was asking her about Sandy's father in order to find out who her biological mother was. The actress added that if he doesn't know about it, she doesn't either. Then the girl admitted that she actually came because she wanted to invite him to her house for dinner. Lily hoped he wouldn't agree. Simone added that today was the anniversary of her parents' death, and they would be very happy if he came over for dinner. Christopher agreed, much to Lily's surprise. Lily couldn't sleep for a long time, imagining Chris and Simone in bed together. Sandy didn't want to go to sleep without Dad either, and Mom reassured her that he was just late at work. The sister scolded Simona because she wore a short black dress with a large cut on the chest, because it was the anniversary of the death of their parents. Sarah then asked why she still decided to help her with dinner, if she had a conscience, and Simona asked her sisters if she was going home soon. Sarah cried in front of her parents' photos and said that it was their first trip together. She blamed herself for persuading them to go there. Simone told her sister to stop crying and go home. Suddenly, there was a knock on their door and Christopher entered the room with a bottle of wine. The girl was so happy to see him. And then Assistant Director John entered the room. He was also well acquainted with their parents. Sarah thanked John for his visit. After a while, the girl said that it was time for her to go home, and Simone was waiting for that. She invited Chris to drink wine with her. But Christopher replied that he was in his car, so he would be going home soon. The girl got angry, drank a lot of wine herself, and wanted John to go home as soon as possible. Simone got drunk very quickly and started clinging to Christopher. The man pushed her away from him, thinking only that he was waiting for him at home. Chris said goodbye to everyone and went home. Lily met him near Sandy's room and said that the girl fell asleep without waiting for him. Left alone with John, Simone told him about her feelings for Christopher and asked if there was something between him and his secretary, Lily. John replied that the only thing he could say was that she had better get her feelings out of the way and not get involved. But the girl said that she could not do it. Christopher went to the kitchen to make himself something. Lily was surprised and asked why he didn't have dinner at Simone's. The man replied that he only stopped by to say hello to her sister and offer them his condolences. Lily was glad that everything was not as she thought. During a dinner prepared by Chris, the girl asked her husband how long they had known Simone. Christopher replied that their parents were friends, so they have known each other since childhood. Lily said that she is a little jealous of him with this actress because they are so close. Chris laughed and said that she could not worry because he had no feelings for Simone. The next day, John informed Christopher that he had set up a meeting with director Chong from T-Final. Chris thanked him and added that they would finally meet. Assistant John reminded him that Chong is a rather dangerous person who has enough influence to influence the company's demise. That is why they need to successfully invest in the company. Christopher replied that he knew about it and had heard all these stories about Principal John. But he added that he will not allow anyone to destroy the company that his brother raised from scratch. Lily went to the company library with a list of books on cosmetics that her boss had given her. She found all 5 books and was interested in one more book, but it was written about the behavior of a person who fell in love. She recognized herself in everything, but could not believe that she had fallen in love with Chris. Lily was so absorbed that she didn't notice her former boss, Zach Wen, approach her. He watched the girl and smiled, admiring her. Zach remembered how on a joint company vacation, he injured his leg, and Lily bandaged his wound with her sweater. He then asked if she was cold, and she replied that everything was fine. That day, Lily was with him until the very end, until the ambulance arrived. But after some time, when she became his secretary, Zach was sure that she was his destiny. He called Lily and the girl got scared and dropped all the books on the floor. One book badly injured her leg to the point of bleeding. Zach ran up to her and offered her a tissue. The man said she needed to go to the hospital. The girl replied that she was fine, and Zach said that she always says that and smiled. Zach offered to help Lily get to her office, but she refused. Christopher, who approached them, told Zach that he himself was escorting his secretary. Chris leaned over to Lily and asked if she was okay, and she said yes. But noticing the blood, he said he would treat her wound in his office. Zach insisted that he had to do something for Lily. But Christopher held the girl to him and said that they would handle it themselves. Zach was very angry because everything he wanted so much went to Chris, both the position of the director of the company and her. He decided to come up with something to be ahead. The headmaster was kneeling in front of Lily and tending to her wound, and she remembered him doing that to Sandy and smiled. Zach suddenly entered their office. He apologized to the girl for what happened. Lily replied that it was not his fault because she had missed the books herself. And Chris told Zach that there was no need for him to come here. The man replied that he just wanted to make sure that Lily was okay. When the girl left the office, Chris and Zach sat across from each other on the couches, and Zach said that Lily got hurt because of him, and Chris did it all by himself. Christopher replied that he will always take care of her because she is his person. Zach wondered why they were so close. Chris didn't answer that it was his personal secretary. He then asked Zach if he knew that Leela had a husband, and he asked why he was talking about it. Zach remembered what his person had told him about following Lily's family. He wondered why Chris was hiding the truth about their relationship. As they drove home, Christopher wondered if he should keep the fact that Lily was his wife a secret from the rest of the company. The girl looked out the window and wondered what had happened between her and Zach, that Chris had such a bad mood. Suddenly, the man asked her how her wound was. Lily replied that the wound was shallow, so it was already healing quickly thanks to his treatment. Chris then asked what she thought about telling everyone about their relationship. The girl was surprised at first, but then said that she did not mind. But she was worried that Sandy would be laughed at because her mother gave birth to her too early. Chris said he hadn't thought about it and suggested that his wife wait and think about it, and then tell everyone about them a little later. The next day, Simona Richards came to the office of V Cosmetics. She visited Zach and told him about Chris's black card in his secretary Lily's wallet. She added that the girl herself said that he gave her for a while, so that she could carry out his errands. Zach thought that everything was being confirmed. Simone asked why he was silent if he knew anything. The man replied that he did not know anything, but it was obvious that there was something between them. Zach went out of his way not to tell this inadequate actress that Christopher and Lily had been married for a long time. He said he would help her take Chris away so Lily could be his. Simone approached Lily and said hello. It seemed to the secretary that she was standing in front of such a beautiful girl, as if she was from another planet. Although Chris said there was nothing between them, Lily was still jealous of him. The girl told the model that the director is not there now, and Simona smiled and said that this time she came to her. She remembered John's words and decided to find out for herself. The actress told Lily that she and Chris are much closer than it seems. She said that there have been talks about their wedding since childhood. The girl asked why Simona was telling her this, and she said that she needs help because they work together every day, so rumors about their relationship may spread. Lily replied that it had nothing to do with her. Simone then added that she and Chris have a special relationship and are closer than family. The secretary tried to pretend that she didn't care, but the actress saw that she didn't. The girl said she just wanted to tell Chris's personal secretary about it. Simone saw a photo of Lily with her daughter on her desktop. She took the photo frame in her hands and asked the receptionist what her daughter's name was. Lily replied that her name was Sandy, and the actress said that the girl has a very good appearance, but she doesn't look like her at all, maybe like her dad. Then she casually asked what her daughter's last name was. Lily replied that she was very busy at the moment and needed to finish a lot of work. Simone said goodbye and left, thinking that her child's name was probably her mother's, so the girl did not want to admit that she was a single mother. The next day, Lily overheard her colleagues talking in the office restroom about how their director had become even more handsome since returning from the States. One girl suggested that his future wife must be a real beauty to match him. Lily wondered if she was pretty enough for him. After all, he is really quite an attractive man. The girl thought that the main thing was that they were a family. In the evening, Lily informed her husband that there would be a parents' meeting on Thursday, and offered to go there together, because last year she went alone. Christopher said that they will do everything together now that he is back home. Lily realized at that moment that she did not want to give it to anyone. Chris and Lily came to meet with Principal John. Director Young told Christopher not to expect cooperation just because he was friends with his grandfather. Chong added that his brother Ding perfectly coped with the duties of the head of the company and did everything for its development. He also mentioned Chris's father, calling him a grandpa. Christopher listened carefully to Director Jung and what he said next. In business, luck is important, but life is fleeting and that makes you worry. He added that when one leaves this world, one must remain steadfast in order to run one's business. Chris assured Mr. Chong that he would be fine. At this time, Lily was sitting at a table in the adjacent hall with Assistant Director Chan. He behaved tactlessly and brazenly courted her. The man said she had a beautiful face and asked how old she was. Lily replied that they were there for a business meeting, so she asked him to be polite. The brash guy yelled that they were here to get her boss to borrow money from them for the business. So he was in charge and she had to obey him. He added that she was still young and did not understand anything, and handed her his business card. The man told her to call him to have fun. Lily replied that she was already tired of his harassment, so she should apologize. The man laughed and said that he didn't do anything like that, for which he should apologize. Then the girl showed her phone, on which there was a recording of their conversation, and said that she wanted to request their business conversation for the report, but did not think that it would be so necessary. The man began to shout insulting words at her indignantly, and at that moment Christopher entered the hall and hugged Lily. He asked her what the jerk had done. Chris punched the brat, and as he lay on the floor said that they had evidence of his harassment, so they would decide what to do with it. When they were already on their way home, Lily apologized for what she had done. Christopher said the important thing was that she was okay, and that they didn't lose anything. The man asked how she guessed to turn on the recording of the conversation. Lily admitted that John had tipped her off that these meetings often ended in harassment scandals. Chris was worried that he might not make it. Lily said she could handle it herself, and Christopher added that she should not do that again because he is very worried. At work, Lily constantly thought about her relationship with her husband, and decided that it was necessary to somehow show him that she liked him. After the meeting, she brought Chris a basket of sweets and told him that he needed to restore his sugar levels after a long meeting. After reading a book from the library with advice on love, Lily began the first stage. Give your loved one something sweet. Sweets lift the mood, and then the perfect moment comes for the second stage. Give him a little card with a confession. Christopher read Lily's note in his office and smiled. It was written, "Let's get even closer." When the girl looked into his office, he again made a neutral face, so Lily had to apply the third stage. Arouse feelings with a smile shining like the sun. It seemed to her that it didn't do much either, so she decided to use the last stage, tactile touches. Lily hugged Christopher tightly. The man asked what she was doing, and the girl let him go and went away upset. But Chris grabbed her hand and hugged her again, holding Lily close to him. Christopher then said that he should listen to his answer before he left. He replied that he agreed to get closer. Lily was glad that the book had worked. Simone Richards met in a restaurant with a man named Ben, who was following Sandy. She told him that Zach had let her give him directions. The actress showed him a photo of Lily Blank and asked to learn everything possible about her. The man named the price for his work, and Simona agreed. When Chris and Lily got home, Sandy revealed that she had been looking for their wedding photo for school, but had never found it in the photo albums. The parents explained to Sandy that they had no wedding photos. Dad said that they celebrated the wedding so quickly that they forgot to take pictures. The girl cried because of the insult, because other children will bring photos to school, but she will not. As Chris calmed his daughter down, he had an idea. Christopher suggested that Lily take this photo right now. Sandy was relieved and happy, and Lily couldn't believe what she was hearing. Sarah Richards, Simone's sister, came to the shelter to check on Sandy. 5 years have passed since she last saw her. Sarah asked one girl if she had a friend named Sandy, but she said that there are no such children here. Sarah could not understand how this could be. A teacher who had heard about Sandy approached her and said that the girl had been taken away by her relatives a long time ago, 5 years ago. Sarah was shocked to hear this. Ben watched Lily and Sandy. He photographed them from afar and thought, the mother is 25, the child is 9 years old, and the father is Christopher Wen. Sarah didn't know whether to tell her sister that Sandy had been taken by relatives. She knew that Simone would be furious at the mere mention of the child. She wondered who it could be. It definitely wasn't Simone, and it definitely wasn't Dean who died. Only Christopher remained. Sarah nearly screamed at the realization. Sandy came to the ballet and went to the dressing room. Ben bumped into her in the corridor, who gave her a hand and helped her up. He asked her if everything was okay. The girl, seeing the scars on the man's face, asked in response if everything was okay with him. She took a Band-Aid from her bag and put it on his scar. Sandy said that now it wouldn't hurt and ran to the rehearsal. Ben smiled at such cuteness and said that he had done his job. He looked down at his hand, which had Sandy's hair in it. Sarah shouted to her husband that she saw everything. She asked why he bumped into her on purpose. The man in the black cap asked the girl if she was the girl's guardian. Sarah replied that although she was not a guardian, the girl was in danger. Ben replied that she herself saw that the child was all right, and asked her not to meddle in her business. The girl thought it was very suspicious. Sarah said she would call the police if she ever saw him around a child again. Ben leaned over and told her straight to her face that they would never see her again. While Lily and Mia's secretary are having lunch, Zach approaches them and asks to join them. He added that last time they did not manage to have dinner together. Lily didn't really want to dine with another man, but she allowed her former boss to join them with her friend. Zach asked Lila how she was doing in the principal's office. The girl replied that she was already used to it and had learned. Suddenly, Mia said she had a stomachache. When Mia left, Zach looked at Lily and pondered the fact that her daughter was 9 years old, and Chris was living in Canada at the time. And why people who have not crossed paths before raise a child together. Zach understood that they were hiding something and decided to ask the girl where her husband worked. She could not answer this question for a long time. He drew conclusions for himself and added that he had seen Chris with Simone at lunch in a restaurant. Zach purposely left out the fact that they were together with Principal Young. Lily remembered that Christopher said about the meeting, and it turns out that she was with Simone. Zach said they were pretty close, even more than friends. The man added that Chris and Simone were in love, and first love is not forgotten so quickly. Lily was very upset by this, but she did not know if it was true. At work, the girl only thought about this. Chris said that he and Simone were just friends, but Lily didn't know who to believe anymore. Lily opened the mail on the computer to send the documents, and saw a message in the company's chat that the director was soon to marry the actress Simone Richards. John, who was sitting nearby, noticed how this letter upset the girl and decided to go to the principal. The assistant told Christopher about the rumors in the company about him with the model. He added that besides, the whole office is discussing their upcoming wedding, which might be unpleasant for his wife. Christopher promised to take action. The director asked the assistant to call his wife. Chris explained to Lily that these ridiculous rumors meant nothing, and that he and Simone were just childhood friends. He added that there cannot be any other feelings between them. Lily believed the man, but asked what would happen if the rumors reached Sandy. Chris promised that he would solve the matter, and Lily asked if he was sure that Simone treated him as a friend, because he was her first love. Christopher was outraged to hear this. He said that there was nothing like that between them. The man promised to sort things out so that such rumors would not arise again. When the director entered the conference room, everyone present was discussing his upcoming wedding with the model and actress, with whom they have been together since 5 years. Christopher said hello and explained that all the rumors about the wedding have nothing to do with reality, and Simone Richards is his friend since childhood. Lily was moved by his confession to the whole office. At this time, Ben bought Sandy the most beautiful star hair accessory and approached the ballet school. Sandy was happy to see a man she already knew and greeted him. Ben gave the girl a piece of jewelry and thanked her for the Band-Aid. But Sandy said that her mother does not allow her to take anything from strangers. Well done and a well-behaved child, Ben thought. The friend called Sandy and said that you can't talk to strangers, and the girl answered that it was her friend, which touched Ben. Lily called her daughter. Sandy said goodbye and ran. Sarah approached Ben and reminded him that he promised not to go to the girl again. The man replied that it also applies to her because she is not native. Sarah said she had the right to do that, and Ben said he knew she'd be here. He added that she was also watching over the girl, so it would be better for the two of them if they pretended not to know anything and went their separate ways. At home, Ben calls Zach and tells him that he didn't tell Simone about Lily and Christopher's relationship like he asked, and that he saw a strange woman with their baby. Zach wondered what kind of woman it was. Ben replied that he would now send a photo of the woman who followed the girl and did not approach her. Zach recognized Sarah, Simone's sister, in the photo. Christopher told Lily that John would arrange for their family photo shoot. The girl could not believe that they would finally have family and wedding photos. Lily liked the way Chris looked behind the wheel and asked how long he had been driving. The man replied that he got his license at the age of 20. It was the first thing he wanted to do when he grew up. Chris asked if Leela had rights. He was very surprised to hear that she still does not know how to drive a car. The man suggested that Lily finish driving school and get her license, and he will give her a car for that. The girl refused, explaining that she was not bad anyway. Christopher asked if it would be easier for her to drive Sandy to class in her car. Lily thought he was right and agreed. Besides, it was a good opportunity to be alone with him, so Lily daydreamed about it during lunch. Christopher asked when they would start their driving lessons. The girl replied that she was ready to start at any time. She asked the man who taught him to drive. Chris replied that it was his older brother, Dean. He gave his younger brother a car for Chris getting his license. The guy then asked why he needs a car if he only goes to the gym. Lily saw how sad Christopher was and asked what kind of person his brother Dean was. She added that she had always been interested in learning more about Sandy's birth father. Chris said that Dean was a good person and the best brother, but he added that if he had survived, he would have been the best father to Sandy. It seemed to Lily at that moment that Chris was very lonely. She took his hand and told him that he was the best father for Sandy, too. The man was a little amused by her touches. Sitting in his office, Christopher remembered his wife's words. He took a photo of them together with his brother from the table and looked at it. Assistant John informed the director that he had arranged for a photo studio and a visit to a wedding dress shop for next Wednesday. John was very happy that now they would have family photos. Christopher thought for a moment and John asked what had happened. He replied that he remembered how Lily did not want to marry him 5 years ago. John said that she had changed a lot over the years, because Lily had been raising a child all this time. He remembered how she had not left Sandy's side when she had come down with a serious virus. For several days she took care of her daughter, completely forgetting about herself. Her concern was sincere, like that of a true loving mother. 5 years passed like that. Chris understood that even John knew Lily much better than he did, because he had been with her for 5 years, and they have been together with her for less than a month. John said that he and his wife needed to learn more about each other. He asked if Chris knew, for example, that it was Lily's birthday. Christopher was shocked that he had never once asked Lily when her birthday was. The assistant suggested that she likes flowers more than anything. Sandy drew her mother in a wedding dress and her father in a suit, and herself next to her in a pretty dress. Lily could not believe that soon they would have a photo session. The girl was thinking about the fact that soon she will wear a wedding dress, when Christopher entered their room with a huge bouquet of flowers and wished her a happy birthday. John and Kara also congratulated her with a cake with candles. Chris then presented her with 3 pure gold ducks. He said it was like their family in her hands. Simone came to Zach's office and angrily asked if she could trust the person he had recommended to her. The man asked her what happened. The girl replied that he does not tell her anything as he should. Zach then handed her the tablet with the photo and said that he was the one who asked him not to say anything. After all, he knew that it would hurt her very much. Lily and Chris were in the photo. Simone understood that this meant that they were living together, and Zach confirmed her assumption. The man added that at first he couldn't believe it either, and asked to check everything. Simone said that she would check everything herself and visit Chris's house. In a bridal shop, Christopher first saw his beautiful wife in a wedding dress. Sandy said that Dad had a crush on Mom and they smiled. At the photo session, the photographer took many beautiful pictures of the family, and at the end offered the adults a kiss. They didn't want to, but Sandy insisted. Lovers kiss and the photographer took beautiful photos. Lily couldn't believe that this was actually happening to her. It seemed to her that it was all a good dream. Ben met Zach at the bar and handed him the baby's hair. Zach could now know for sure if it was Christopher's daughter or not. He wanted Lily so badly to be his. Sandy could not sleep for a long time and asked her mother when the photos would be ready. Lily replied that they would have them in about a week. And the girl was delighted with today's photo session, because everyone was very beautiful. Chris looked into their room and Sandy called Dad to join them in bed. Sandy was so happy to fall asleep between Mommy and Daddy. Lily D looked at Chris and couldn't forget her first kiss that happened today at the photo shoot. After such a busy day, the girl quickly fell asleep and they were left alone with each other. Sandy, even in her sleep, asked her parents to kiss. Husband and wife laughed and Christopher told Lily that he was glad they were his family. The girl was also happy that everything turned out this way. In the morning, Simone went to Christopher's house. She thought that she hadn't been here in a long time, and remembered the times when they were still in school and often played at Chris's house. At that time, no one wanted to be friends with her because she is quite sharp, and Christopher was her only real friend. He didn't care what others said about her. He said that it was not her fault that the other children did not want to play with her, because he was her friend. His smile and what he was saying to her. That's when Simone fell in love with him, and now she was standing near his house, because she wanted to find out if Lily really lived in this house, and what the relationship between her and Christopher was. The assistant opened the door for her and asked if the owner knew that guests were to come to him. Simone replied that she just happened to drop by here. Lily heard someone come and ask the assistant who was there. She was frightened when she saw Simone Richards in the hall. The actress realized that Zach was right. The model asked Lila what the secretary was doing at her boss's house. The assistant apologized to the lady for letting this lady into the house without thinking. Simone was shocked that the assistant called Lily a mistress. Lily invited the girl to pass and sit down to chat, but the model stood still. She asked why the secretary was pretending to be the owner of this house. The girl assumed that Lily just wanted to take Christopher's money. At that moment, Chris approached them and asked Simone not to talk nonsense, because Lily is his wife. The actress could not believe what was happening. Simone asked Chris why he said that. The man showed her his wedding ring and said that they had been officially married for 5 years. The girl was shocked by the fact that they not only live together, but are also married. At that moment, Sandy ran to Lily and called her mom. Simone froze in place when she saw this girl. She seemed very similar to Dean Venn, Chris's older brother. Christopher told Sandy to say hello. Hearing the girl's name, Simone understood everything. She said that it was time for her to go and quickly ran out of the house. She bumped into her sister on the street. Simone asked Sarah what she was doing here. The girl admitted that she had come to see Sandy. Then Simone asked why she needed the secretary's daughter Lily. Sarah told her sister that she was in a shelter, and there she was informed that the child she gave birth to was taken by her relatives 5 years ago. Simone asked what that meant, and Sarah said that Christopher and Lily's daughter was her child. Simone told her sister to shut up and not shout about it. Sarah saw that her sister felt sick, and suggested that she return home as soon as possible. Ben, who was watching them nearby, heard everything and understood what they were saying about Sandy. Simone Richards sat on the bed and cried, remembering this little girl who looked so much like Dean. She used to think that night was her huge mistake. When her career as an actress was just beginning to gain momentum, Simone found out that she was pregnant. The screen star decided to hide this fact from everyone and took a short break. Her sister Sarah kept trying to contact her, but Simone didn't answer. When Sarah couldn't take it anymore, she broke the combination lock on her door. Sarah saw her sister lying on the floor covered in blood, and the child crying on the floor in a blanket. She quickly remembered what she had been taught in the first aid courses. The girl helped her sister and her child. Simone ordered Sarah to keep quiet about what she had just seen, and reminded her that she had not given birth to any child. Lily sat on the bed and could not sleep. She couldn't forget the look Simone gave Sandy. She thought that the girl had not expected that Christopher had a child. Was there another reason? Lily thought. Mom? Sandy suddenly scared her, running into her room. She asked why Mom doesn't sleep with Dad. Then the girl ran to her father and asked him why they were not sleeping together in bed again. Sandy assumed they had an argument and made them hug. After that, she sent them together to their room and closed the door, adding that she would come in the morning and check if they slept together. Left alone in bed, parents felt uncomfortable. Christopher leaned over Lily as if to kiss her, but then he said that he just wanted to remove the mosquito that was on her head. The girl was a little upset that he made such a joke, but they fell asleep together. In the morning, sitting in his office, Christopher remembered the previous night and smiled. He was so lost in thought that he didn't even notice how his assistant John approached him. John informed the director that the New Cosmetics Forum had sent him an invitation. They asked him to talk about the trends of the modern cosmetic beauty industry. Christopher agreed, and John added that he would not be able to accompany him because he already had other work scheduled that day. Therefore, Lily will go to this forum. Chris was surprised at first, but then he was happy that he and his wife would spend time together. John was happy for them too. Simone remembered how that girl looked like Dean. She thought back to the night she sat at the bar drinking because she missed Chris. Then Dean approached her. The girl was so drunk that she thought that Christopher was in front of her and not his brother. She threw herself on his neck and started kissing him. Dean didn't mind because he had liked Simone for a very long time. And in the morning, the girl realized that she had overslept, seeing brother Chris next to her in bed. After that, they did not meet again, and no one knew about this incident. But now Simone could not understand why the girl lives with Christopher, and where Lily came from. Zach met Ben at the cafe and he told that Simone had been to Christopher's house a few days ago. Zach remembered that Simone wanted to clarify everything. Ben then reported that he saw the woman there again, who turned out to be the actress's sister, and heard a conversation between the sisters about Sandy being Simone's daughter. Zach was shocked by such news, but after remembering that unexpected break in Simone's career, he realized that it was possible. He asked Ben if he knew anything about the baby's father, and he said he didn't at this point, but he would continue to investigate. Things were getting more interesting, Zach thought. At the meeting, Christopher asked his subordinates how things were going with the city project. He was told that a competition for the design of signs and posters was being held. There were a lot of applications for the competition because a prize was announced for the victory. Christopher asked the workers to carefully review each idea, making sure nothing was left out. When Lily found out about this competition for advertising men's care cosmetics, for the victory of which $5 million were promised, she realized that Christopher really appreciated this project. The girl was interested in the fact that the winner could get a job in the main staff of the company. Therefore, she decided to definitely take part in this competition. In the evening, Christopher, Lily, and Sandy were looking at the photos they had already taken. The girl was satisfied because everyone in the photo looked very beautiful. Sandy then asked her parents how they met. Chris knew he couldn't tell her the whole truth, so he reworked the story a bit. Father said that he was going to a meeting with an important person and met Mother there. And that day she helped him meet that person. Sandy asked for a follow-up, and Chris said that was when he fell in love with her mom at first sight. And that's why he immediately decided that he wanted to marry her. Then the girl asked her mother how everything was. Lily remembered how she was afraid of him at first, but later, seeing his kind smile, realized that he was a good person. There was concern for her and the child in his words and actions. His cold, emotionless face turned warm and kind. Lily replied to her daughter that she too fell in love at first sight, even earlier than Dad. She added that she still likes Dad very much. Christopher looked at Lily and understood that she was not at all like the mothers that he and his brother had. The day their mother left, he cried a lot. But the mother left and did not even turn around. Dean reassured his young brother, and his father quickly found a new woman. The women changed one by one. They all only wanted their father's money, so they were kind to his children. But when they realized that they would not get all the family's money, they simply ran away. Little Chris decided not to be like his father, and not to fall in love for anything. But with Lily, everything was different from the very beginning, although it was a marriage for Sandy. But Christopher decided that if she wanted to leave, he would tell his daughter that her mother had gone away to study, and gradually they would get used to living without her. But now it seemed to him that he could not do without her. Chris's heart fluttered when he saw her. Sandy showed Dad the pictures and asked if Mom was really pretty in them. Dad replied that of course it is. Christopher asked his daughter if she would let them and their mother go on an overnight business trip next week. Lily was very surprised at this news and asked what happened to John, who was supposed to accompany him. Chris replied that he had other work to do. Sandy told her parents that she would only let them go if they found the treasure she had hidden within 10 minutes. "My treasure" is written on it, and it is also an item that they will now often see in the house. While Lily was searching for treasure, she found a box containing Christopher's boxing championship belt. And Chris found Sandy's treasure. It was their family photo. The girl said that their family is the greatest treasure for her. Lily hugged her daughter and cried, saying that their family is very valuable to her too. Christopher looked at them and understood that it really was, and they could become a real family. In the office, John informed Christopher that the launch date of the palette project coincided with the launch date of the city project. Chris replied that Zach had been dragging it out for a month on purpose. John confirmed his assumption and said that Zach Wen specifically set this date to launch his project. The assistant reminded that their project must be successful, because they are just waiting to take his place. Christopher replied that he understood that, so he would make every effort to make sure everything went smoothly. When John left the office, Chris took his brother's notebook out of the drawer and remembered that Dean had developed this project a long time ago. He wanted to popularize men's care cosmetics. Further in the notebook were notes that he had to find his daughter, Sandy, 3 years old. First of all, check the city children's shelter. Christopher read these records again and again, and did not understand why his brother did not tell him about it, and searched for the child himself. Chris couldn't understand why he made it his secret. Lily flew on a plane for the first time and was terribly afraid. Chris laughed at her at first, but then decided to help her and advised her to look at him and imagine that they are at home on the sofa. It helped the girl, and she liked to look at his handsome face, so she completely stopped being afraid of flying and that the plane might fall. When they arrived at the hotel, they were told at the reception that the room was reserved for one person only. Chris asked if he could book another room, but everyone was taken. Lily realized that John, the assistant, had specially booked the room for just one person. In fact, the girl was pleased that she and Chris would have time alone. She went into the bathroom and changed into her nightclothes. Lily decided that today Christopher would look at her differently in this underwear. When the girl came out of the bathroom, Chris was sitting in a chair drinking wine, wondering if John had booked a room specifically for them. He saw Lily and quickly turned away. The girl asked Christopher to pour her a glass of wine too. The man poured wine but reminded them that tomorrow is an important day for them, so they should be sober. Lily drank a glass of wine and quickly got drunk, although Chris warned that it could be like last time, at a meeting with her former boss. She first confessed to her husband that she liked him, and then fell asleep right on the chair. Christopher carefully carried his wife to the bed. When Lily woke up, it was already morning and Chris called her to breakfast. The girl was angry with herself for missing such a chance to get close to her husband. Lily had breakfast at the hotel for the first time, and she really liked it. But she didn't stop scolding herself about last night, because it was a good opportunity for them to get closer. Suddenly, the boy whom those around him called the Star came up to them and greeted Christopher, hugging him tightly like a friend. It was Paolo, the modern idol of many. He introduced himself to Lily as Christopher's friend, and told that they used to play sports together, namely boxing. Then the girl understood where the championship belt came from. The guy sat down at their table and told Chris how he became famous. After Chris left, he auditioned and now he's a screen star. Paolo noticed that Lily was smeared with sauce and wiped her face with a napkin. The girl said that she could have done it herself, and Christopher was angry with his friend. When Christopher gave his speech on the stage about the connection of the beauty industry to the growth of the entertainment industry, Lily looked at him and remembered how he made her jealous. After the performance, they went for a walk on the beach. Christopher praised Lily for a job well done, and the girl replied that he did it all himself. Then she decided to ask him about boxing, and Chris said that he had been doing it since the first year of high school on the recommendation of a teacher. Lily admitted that she saw the championship belt at home when she was looking for Sandy's treasure. Chris said he won it at the Nationals. And then Lily asked him why he reacted like that in the morning to what Paolo did. Christopher himself did not know why he was so angry then. The girl asked if he did not think that he was jealous of her. Fireworks started in the sky. Chris looked at Lily, who was staring at the sky in fascination, and said that it was. Lily could not believe that Christopher confessed his feelings to her for a long time and questioned him. When the man confirmed his words, the girl started shouting that he liked her. Lily then hugged Chris and admitted that she was happy. She said she was very worried that her feelings were not reciprocated. Christopher apologized to the girl. He added that he did not know that he could like someone so much. Chris repeated again, looking into Lily's eyes, that he liked her and kissed her forehead. Sitting on the sand by the ocean, Lily asked her husband when he realized he liked her. Chris admitted that everything was like he told Sandy, from the first meeting. When Simona Richards was being prepared in the dressing room for a new role, an old acquaintance approached her and asked how she ended up here, because they had not seen each other for a long time. Simona replied that they only see each other on set. The girl left in a rage, thinking that this actress was making a star out of herself again and could not talk normally. The filming assistant told Simone that she had to go into the room and pretend that she was seeing the baby lying in the playpen for the first time. The actress replied that she would manage, especially since she and her friend had already worked together. But when Simona entered the frame and saw the child, she could not move. She remembered her newborn child and could not go to the playpen. No matter how many times she was asked to continue filming on the set, Simona left the shooting pavilion. The girl simply ran away from the filming, and her friend told others that those rumors about her child no longer seemed so absurd. Everyone was shocked by her unprofessional act. Simona drove up to the ballet school and sat in the car. She reflected on what she had done 9 years ago. The girl believed that she had no other choice. When she saw Sandy, she got out of the car and walked over to her. The girl recognized an acquaintance of her parents who came to their house a few days ago. Sandy said hello, and Simone asked the girl to go with her to the cafe to eat ice cream and chat. The girl wondered if she could go with her. After all, she is not a completely unknown woman because her parents know her well. Sandy really wanted ice cream, so she agreed to leave for a while and then come back and go home. When Chris and Lily got off the plane at the airport, they got a call from the housekeeper saying Sandy was missing. She said that she came to pick her up at the ballet school, but she was no longer there, and her friends did not know where she was. Kara called her phone and he stayed home. Lily suddenly dropped the phone and Christopher asked what happened. Then the girl told him everything and they went to the police station. Meanwhile, Sandy and Simone were sitting in a cafe. The girl was eating ice cream and the actress was drinking coffee. Simona decided to ask the girl about her mother, whether she was okay with her. Sandy replied that her mother is the best and most beautiful in the whole world, and loves her daughter more than anything, and she loves her mother. The girl was lucky to have such beautiful parents. Simona was angry that Lily had attached her daughter to her like that. Suddenly, the girl asked the woman how to get on television because she saw it on TV. Then Simona was happy that now everything would turn out as she planned. The actress offered the girl to be secret friends. Then she will make sure that she is taken on television. The woman reminded the girl that one should not tell anyone about secret friends. Sandy agreed and said it was time to go home and ran. Secretary Mia begged her boss, Zach Wine, not to fire her. She said that he promised not to do this because he knows how much she needs money. Mia added that she is ready for anything. Zach said he would not fire her if he won first place in the city project. The secretary promised to do everything possible and impossible for this. Lily and Christopher searched for Sandy all around the ballet school and asked people if they had seen a girl like the one in the photo. But there were no results. After that, they went to the police and wrote a statement in which they described all the details. They were already scared that it might be a kidnapping, but Kara called them. The aide said that Sandy came home and the parents quickly drove there. Lily hugged her daughter tightly and cried, and Christopher also hugged his own girls. Ben was sitting outside their house on a motorcycle. He told himself he'd waited until Sandy got home so he could get out of here. He was worried that Simone was up to something. The parents explained to Sandy that it was impossible to do that, because they were very worried and already thought that she had been kidnapped. Besides asking, she was there all this time. Sandy knew not to talk about a secret friend, so she said her friend had treated her to ice cream. Lily asked who exactly that friend was. When Sandy said that this was her new friend, whom her mother did not know yet, Lily was very surprised because before she knew absolutely everything about her girl. Zach handed Simone an envelope of money and said it was from Ben, who was refusing to work with her anymore. The actress was very angry with that man. She then asked Zach if he would help her get Christopher. The man replied that at first he thought Lily was lying about her husband. But now he can't do anything. Simone got angry and said that she wanted to break them up by any means, and if he didn't help, then she would do it herself. Zach replied that she could do whatever she wanted, but he would have no more part in it. The girl took offense at him and left. Simone decided that she wasn't going to let it go that easily, and approached Zach Ven's secretary, Mia. The model handed the girl an envelope with money and asked her to do something for her. The secretary was worried that she would get in trouble for this, but Simone assured her that everything would be fine. You just need to copy some files from her boss's computer and give them to her. Mia thought about it, and the actress said that if she did not want to help her, then she would make it so that she would have no choice, and the secretary agreed. Ben was waiting in line for an injection at a local hospital. When he was called by a nurse, he was very surprised to see Sarah, the sister of actress Simone Richards, again. When the girl recognized him, she was afraid that he was a maniac who was stalking her. Ben started to cough and said he didn't have time for that and wanted to leave. Sarah stopped him and said she would give him an injection. The girl asked how he knew that she was the first to start following Sandy. Ben didn't want to answer that question. He could tell, but he didn't want this girl to know that her sister had hired him to follow Christopher and his secretary. Simone decided she needed a new person to do the tasks because Ben was Zach's man. She found the number and dialed it. The girl decided to get Chris at any cost. As Sandy walked to ballet school with her mother, Lily noticed that someone was following them. She stopped and asked the man what he needed. The man said he was an organizer of castings for television and showed his business card. He added that they are looking for an actress to play a child role in the series. Lily thought about it, and the man said that her daughter was very beautiful, so he would wait for their call at any time. And they can also come to the company's office themselves. Simona's producer was furious with the young actress. He specifically negotiated her participation in this series in order to increase her ratings, and she ran away. The actress replied that she did not want to act in this project, and her husband said that she had no choice. The company replied that she had health problems. Therefore, she must now pull herself together and continue working on this project. Simone left, saying that no one would make her stay at home. At home, Sandy and her mother were watching TV. Lily wondered if Sandy would be able to find her own mother if she started acting in TV series. She didn't know if it was a good thing or not. Suddenly, Simone Richards was shown on TV and Sandy recognized her. She told her mom that she was a friend of hers and her dad, and she liked her so much. The girl said that she also wants to be so beautiful and play in TV series so that she is shown on TV. Lily told her daughter that they would go to the casting if she wanted. When Christopher came home, they told him about Sandy's interest in television and acting. He said that you should try. At the casting, Sandy showed how she knows how to show different emotions, how trained her memory is. When she showed the dance, Lily was surprised that the girl had prepared it herself. The producer and the cameraman were surprised by her abilities, and both said that the girl had a natural talent for acting. They were promised a role in the series. When they happily left the office center, Sandy told her mother that she was making a quick run to the bathroom. Ben, watching them, wondered what they were doing here. Suddenly, a motorcycle appeared out of nowhere and drove straight at Lily at high speed. Sandy saw this and ran to her mother. Ben rushed to the girl and grabbed her. The motorcycle drove on, and a frightened Lily thanked the man for saving her daughter. The man replied that he simply could not do otherwise. Lily suggested that he go with them to the hospital because his arm was injured. Ben agreed because the girl wouldn't leave him alone. At the hospital, Lily told the doctor everything about the accident and that this man had saved her child. The doctor said it was just a big bruise on the arm and prescribed an ointment. Ben pondered the fact that the motorcyclist was specifically riding Lily and Sandy. He was afraid of what Simone was up to, and he didn't know what else she was capable of. He asked Lily how Sandy was doing. She replied that thanks to him everything was fine and the girl was slightly frightened. Ben replied that he was glad everything was fine. During this conversation, they were seen by Sarah, who worked at the hospital as a nurse. She did not understand how these three people ended up together. When Ben moved away a bit, Sarah asked what he was doing here. The man replied that he knew what it looked like, but in reality he was just helping Sandy in a dangerous situation. Sarah excitedly asked what happened and if Sandy was okay. Ben thought she really didn't know what her sister was making, so he told her about the motorcycle. The girl replied that it was good that Sandy was fine, but she was also concerned about his well-being. Ben looked at the girl and thought she was very pretty. At home over dinner, Lily told Chris about the incident and their savior, and also about the fact that Sandy was accepted for a role in the series, which will soon begin filming. Christopher said it was good that everything worked out and praised his daughter for her efforts. He looked at Sandy and couldn't believe that she was already so grown up. A man called Simone Richards and said that the task failed because the girl jumped out in front of the motorcycle. The actress was very angry and said that the child should not be touched. The man said that he did so and added that he would go to the police and tell her that she wanted to kill a person. So that he does not do this and does not hand over the recordings with her voice to the police, she must pay him 3 times more than she has already given, as before, to the hiding cell. Simone agreed, but on the condition that he see the matter through. The man agreed and said he would wait for her money. The girl thought only about how to get Christopher. Lily was discussing in the office with her friend Max how to win the city project. The girl suggested using some popular blogger to advertise the project. Lily also offered to advertise the project on television with the help of real actors. They need to hold an audition right in their office. Max replied that it was an excellent idea, and she would definitely win the title of the winner in this competition and be included in the permanent staff of the company. Sandy cried and begged her mother not to go. The woman said that now the girl will live with her grandmother. The child was struggling, and the grandmother was holding her when the mother left. Lily watched her daughter's work on the set and was amazed at her talent, because Sandy did not study anywhere to be an actress. The other actors praised the girl for her good work, and Sandy ran to her mother during the break. Lily told her daughter that she was well done, and the girl said that she was very sad. She asked her mother to never leave her. Lily told her daughter that she could never leave her, so she could not worry about it. Secretary Mia brought a flash drive to Simone and said that it contained all the information from Zach Ven's computer. Simona was glad that now he would answer for not wanting to help her. Lily could not believe that she won the first place in the competition. Second place went to her secretary friend Zach Vina Mia. Assistant John congratulated the girl on the victory. John informed Christopher that his wife had won his competition for the Best Design of the City project. Chris asked John if he knew she was taking part. The assistant replied that she asked not to tell him so that she would be judged like everyone else. Chris remembered how Lily was always busy with something, and was glad that she won. Simone saw the TV series with Sandy in the lead role, and did not understand when she had time to make her debut. She thought about the fact that her daughter looked so much like her. Ben approaches Zach at the bar and says that he accidentally revealed himself, so he's calling off the investigation. Zach said he did a good job and didn't need any more. Zach handed him an envelope of money, but Ben declined. He said he didn't want to do that anymore, but Zach insisted that the boy take the money. He added that the anniversary of his sister's death is coming soon. Ben asked how he remembered it. Zach replied that he couldn't forget because that was the day they met. 5 years ago, Zach came to a gas station and saw a boy beat a man. From his look, Zach understood something that was difficult to explain in words. Ben was under investigation for his statement, and Zach learned the details of the case because he was there as a witness. Ben's younger sister worked at this gas station. After she got into a terrible accident at work, the girl committed suicide. Ben himself found the people who were to blame for that accident and decided to find out. That's how he got behind bars. 4 years later, Ben began dating again a guy who was working on a construction site and accidentally damaged his car. The guy said that he would definitely give the money to repair the car. Zach recognized him immediately and replied that it would be enough if he did a few of his errands. Zach looked at Ben at the bar and remembered how he had thought he was strange at first, but not now. Ben said he wanted to live for himself now, said goodbye to Zach and left. Ben stood in front of the cell with his sister Catherine's ashes and told her about Sandy. She seemed to him very similar to his sister. Catherine took care of injured and traumatized animals as well, acted in school plays as Sandy did on television. Ben told his sister that thanks to this girl, he decided to live for himself. Sandy was very happy just going shopping with her parents. The girl remembered the day when they had last done this and she dressed everyone in pink. Lily also remembered that good day and said that today they can choose what they want, because she won the competition and they gave her a monetary reward. Sandy ran to pick out outfits, and Christopher took Lily's hand and they went to the store. Ben, who happened to be in this shopping center by chance, was choosing new clothes. Seeing the happy family, Ben himself was very happy for them. Christopher saw the man looking at them, and for a moment he thought they were being spied on. The next day, Ben met Sandy after ballet school. The girl told the man that he looks great in a new stylish look. Ben thanked him and said he had to move to another city, so he came to say goodbye. Sandy hugged him because she didn't want to say goodbye. The man presented her with a hair ornament that she had not taken before, and said that now they knew each other, so she could accept it. Sandy thanked Ben for the ornament and for saving her. Ben asked her to stay as sweet as she was, to grow up happy and healthy, and to obey her mother. Christopher, who came to pick up Sandy, asked his daughter who this man was. The girl replied that it was Uncle Ben who had saved her from the motorcycle. Chris shook his hand and thanked him for saving his daughter. But in fact, the father's heart was not in the right place due to the fact that this man was always where Sandy was. Sitting in his office, Christopher continued to think about it. He called his assistant John and asked him to find out everything about this Ben. Sarah kept looking into Simona's room, but she hadn't eaten anything for 2 days, but was just lying on the bed and looking at the phone. The actress read the news about herself and cried. The sister sat down next to Simona on the bed and suggested that she do something. For example, telling everyone that Sandy is her daughter. But Simona wanted to make sure that everyone found out about it themselves. Patricia Wen was sitting on the roof terrace of the office waiting for someone. John approached the woman and asked why she called him. She simply asked how he was doing. John reminded the woman that they were at work and not to discuss personal matters. But Patricia asked him to sit next to her and handed the man coffee. The woman looked at the huge, thick green tree and reminded John of how they had once secretly met here long ago and watched him. The man replied that he did not want to remember anything, so he would leave here and continue working. Patricia grabbed his hand and asked him to listen to her. John replied that he would listen if she had anything to say as the CEO of the company. That woman said that then she simply had no choice. She admitted that she regretted choosing someone else all her life. But it was her father's fault. He made her do it. And when it was possible to leave, the woman was already pregnant with a son. John replied that it all no longer matters. And Patricia said that she divorced a long time ago because she could not forget her first love. The man did not want to listen to her. And then Patricia said that she wanted John to become the owner of the entire V Cosmetics company. John asked what she was saying, and the woman admitted that she knows that it was he who restored the company, which was collapsing in front of everyone and not Dean. Therefore, he deserves it. John informed Christopher that the man's name was Ben Nex. He currently works in construction and has a previous conviction for assault. He had a younger sister who committed suicide after a terrible accident. Ben decided to find out on his own because the criminal was not punished by the court. He was also spotted with Zach Wen. Christopher wondered because that meant that Zach had known about Sandy for a long time, since he had Ben follow her. Christopher thanked the assistant for his work and said he was promoting him to the executive director of the company. John was very surprised and asked why so suddenly. Chris replied to the man that he could not sit in the secretariat all his life. And John replied that the deputy director is not sitting idly by either. And Christopher said that it should be done because Patricia Wen is serious about fighting for the director's place. Therefore, they need to build up strength. John replied that he needed some time to think it over. Christopher apologized and added that he hadn't even considered that he might disagree. The director also added that he will find a person who will help him with his work, regardless of what decision he makes. After all, he has been pulling everything alone for a very long time. John said goodbye to Lily and said that although it was a good event, he still didn't want to go. The girl thanked him for everything that John had taught her and said that he should move on. Lily's former colleague, Mia's secretary, visited them in the reception room with her office belongings. She said that from this day, she will work in the director's office. Lily congratulated her friend on her promotion, and Mia congratulated Lily on winning the competition. Mia then congratulated John on his promotion and took his place. Zach ordered Mia to obtain classified information on the city project while she was working there. Mia understood that this was her last chance, but she would not let it go. The job center tried to find Ben a job, but apart from having a driver's license, he didn't have any of the skills needed to be an office worker. An employee of the employment center said that one company responded to his resume. This is one very well-known cosmetic company, the products of which every person must have. They need a secretary driver to the office of the company director. Ben asked what the name of the company was, and when he heard the name, he realized that it was the company that Zach and other people he knew worked for. He was about to turn down the job, but the job center employee reminded him that it was a stroke of luck that such a well-known company chose him from his resume. The man advised Ben to think carefully and go to the interview. But before that, it is desirable to disguise his scar on the face, because the first impression is of great importance. Ben was walking down the street and saw a cosmetics store. Personally, he hadn't been bothered by this scar on his face for a long time, but he needed to cover it up, so he decided to do something about it. When he entered the store, he did not know what he needed. Ben was about to leave when someone called him. It was her again. This girl constantly caught his eye. Sarah was so happy that they met again. She asked Ben how he was and apologized to him for not being so clear last time. The girl said that her colleagues explained everything to her about the fact that he saved Sandy. Ben says he's fine, and Sarah asks what he's doing here. She assumed he wanted to buy something to treat his hand wound, but Ben reassured her, adding that the wound had healed a long time ago. The man asked Sarah for help in finding a remedy to cover the scar on his face. The girl recommended him a concealer and demonstrated its effect on a bruise on his arm. Sarah said to apply a little foundation over the scar or bruise and it will be invisible. Ben looked at his hand and was really pleased with the result. Approaching the office building, Lily called out to the boy walking in front of her. She asked if he was the famous blogger Bling Black. When the boy returned and took off his glasses, she realized that it was her friend Max who worked with her in the same office. He said she declassified him. Lily gave a presentation to colleagues and the director. She said that what they wanted in advertising was to give freshness to already familiar V Cosmetics products. And if they choose a celebrity to promote the main product as a model, then there must be someone with a fresh image to convey the concept of the modern city. Lily reported to CEO Christopher Wen that they found the most effective way to promote their products was through popular makeup blogger Bling Black. When Christopher met this blogger, he immediately asked him if they had seen each other before. The boy took off his glasses and told the director that he worked in their library during the day. Secretary Mia brought Zach a flash drive with secret data of the city project, which included its marketing strategy and even an ingredient analysis table. Zach smiled and said that was very good. The girl asked if he would fulfill his promise. The man replied that soon she would be included in the main staff of the company. He added that she should continue to work well, and then she will get what she wants. Leaving the office, Mia was happy that in this way she would get what she had planned for so long. Zach carefully reviewed the documents and the marketing plan of the city project, and realized that Christopher wanted to promote the products with the help of the model. He thought that if everything went so smoothly for his cousin, it wouldn't be interesting. Zach called a reporter he knew and asked him for a favor. Christopher and Lily were sitting at a ballet school concert watching Sandy perform. Lily saw how proud Chris was of his daughter, and she was happy and proud of her family. Lila's phone rang and she quietly answered. A woman's voice said that they should meet and talk, just so that Christopher wouldn't know about it. When they met at the cafe, Simone gave Lily an envelope and told her it was important. Lily opened the envelope and saw the DNA test results confirming that Simone was Sandy's mother. Lily said it couldn't be, and Simone fell to her knees on the floor and said she knew it was late, but she wanted to be a good mother to Sandy. Shocked, Lily asked the girl why she didn't say anything about it the last time they saw each other. Simone replied that she herself found out that Sandy was her daughter. The actress began to cry and talk about the fact that she did not give up her child, and it was her sister who took her to an orphanage. And then, when she wanted to take her daughter, she was told that she had already been taken. Lily asked the girl to get up from the floor and said that it was good that Sandy's mother was found. Lily kept thinking about this meeting, but she didn't want it to happen. Simone said that Lily was afraid that the press and then the whole town would find out about it. The model psychologically pressured Lily and said that Sandy and Christopher would not be happy because of her. Therefore, all she wants is to raise her own daughter. Simone said it was time for Lily to leave Sandy. Lily replied that she did not know how true this test was, so she would check everything herself and then decide what to do. The actress replied that she will not wait long, so she gives her a week. Otherwise, she will come to Sandy herself and tell her everything. And she added that because of Lily's selfishness, everyone will suffer. A few days later, Lily sat on her bed and cried. The DNA test turned out to be true, and now she didn't know how to leave Sandy and Chris. Lily made the most delicious dinner for her family, surprising both Sandy and Christopher. She said that today they were celebrating their family's birthday. She then kissed the sleeping Sandy and apologized to her for not keeping her promise to never leave her. Lily took one last look at their photo together and left the house. In the morning, Christopher and Sandy looked everywhere for their mother, but she was nowhere to be found. Dad told Sandy that Mom must have gone to work early, even though he knew it hadn't happened before. Assistant John told Christopher that Lily brought him her resignation letter this morning. Chris tried to call her, but her phone was switched off. Suddenly, Christopher heard the workers discussing that he had a wife. John said it was because of an article about his upcoming wedding to actress Simone Richards. He showed an article on the tablet in which it was written that the director of V Cosmetics is already married and has a child. John added that the article has been removed, but there is no stopping the rumors. Christopher asked John to write a rebuttal to the article as soon as possible, and asked if Lily could see the article. The assistant answered that, most likely, no. The producer shouted at Simona because she got into some kind of scandal again. He scolded the girl for courting a married man. The girl was indignant because everyone was cooking some article, not her. The producer said that it would be very bad for her reputation if she ruined the family of a well-known man. Zach sat in his office and was happy that the article came out just in time. Suddenly, Simone burst into him and began to accuse him of publishing this article. The man asked the girl if she wanted Chris to be hers, and he added that earlier she allowed him to act on his own. Simone said she wouldn't leave it at that. As soon as Christopher entered the house, He immediately asked Kara if Lily had returned. Then he entered his office and saw the divorce papers on the table. He realized that the girl had planned her escape in advance and signed all the divorce papers. Christopher believed that she was not like his stepmother's, but apparently in vain. Christopher admitted to John that he didn't tell Sandy that his mother had left her, because he didn't want to leave her as hurt as he had been. John replied that Lily is a nice person, so she will definitely come back. Chris felt sad that he had no idea where to look for her because he didn't know anything about Lily. John reminded him about the shelter and the man decided to visit it tomorrow. Returning home, Christopher heard Sandy playing with someone and was glad to see Lily back. But when he saw Simone next to Sandy, he was very upset. Sandy told her dad that she was painting with his friend from TV. The man asked Simona what she was doing here. The actress said that she came to see Lily for this article. The girl told the model that her mother had gone on a business trip for 10 days. Simona understood that the girl listened to her advice and left them. The man asked his daughter to go to his room and stay there so that the adults could talk. Christopher asked Simone if she was the one who released the article. The actress swore that it was not her, and besides, this article is a huge problem for her career. She added that her office had already issued a rebuttal to the article. Christopher demanded that Simone apologize to Lily when she returned and never come to his house again. The girl agreed and surrendered. Simone was very offended by the fact that she herself came to him to apologize, and he became even colder towards her. She wanted to tell him everything about the child, but nothing came of it. Lily was sitting on a park bench and realized that she had nowhere to go. If she goes to the shelter, Christopher will quickly find her. She turned off the phone and just stared at the sky. When the girl saw the plane, she immediately cried. For the first time, she flew with Christopher to the island of Jeju, where he confessed his feelings to her. Lily cried and scolded herself for being emotional. The girl decided to go to Jeju Island. No one will find her there and she will be able to reboot a little. Patricia asked John if he had thought it through. The woman said that Christopher had no business with him. John replied that she was wrong. She added that it will forever remain in his secretariat. It seemed to Patricia that John would agree to her tempting offer just a little longer. When Christopher called on the director of the shelter, Rose Woman told him that Lily often visited the shelter and helped the children. The man was surprised because he did not know about this. He asked if she had come recently. The manager said that a few days ago Lily came to visit and said that she would be out of town for a while. Christopher realized that Lily had planned everything for a long time. The man asked the woman to let him know if she shows up. It was his last hope. Lily looked at the ocean and cried because she remembered Christopher and Sandy again. The girl wiped her tears and decided to be strong for their happiness. Sitting in the car, Chris wondered where Lily could have gone. His thoughts were interrupted by John, who showed him an article on the tablet, due to which the company's shares fell by 5%. It was written that many harmful components were found in their cosmetics. John said they needed to call an emergency board meeting. Christopher did not understand where this data came from, because in their cosmetics, of course, there was no excess of harmful components. Therefore, he was sure that someone had framed them. At an emergency board meeting, Christopher greeted everyone and began his speech by apologizing for causing concern with a false article about harmful ingredients. He added that the company is currently rechecking the composition of cosmetics from the City Project for the presence of harmful components. The director reported that they have done random sampling and contacted the laboratory and the Ministry of Medicine Safety to further test all components. In addition, a thorough internal investigation is conducted to determine whether an error was made during the manufacturing process of the cosmetics at the factory. Christopher Wen added that as the CEO of the company, he takes full responsibility for this situation and will definitely report all the results of the investigation. In the study, John apologized to Christopher and said that he should have been more careful. The director reassured the man that it was not his fault. Christopher wondered who could have done this. It seemed to him that the answer lay on the surface, and John knew for sure that there was only one person capable of this.